In this video, I'll share lots of gameplay footage captured directly from a PC Engine Duo. Globally, the 8-bit generation was marked mainly by the NES, with the Sega Master System achieving success in countries such as Brazil and Japan. And the 16-bit generation was marked both by the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo. However, there was a console that was launched before the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo that was very successful in Japan, and that console is the PC Engine. The PC Engine is also known as the TurboGrafX, and it had a mix of 8-bit and 16-bit components, and it was the first video game console that used CDs. Natively, it used these cards called Hue cards, but through expansions or special console versions, it could also use CDs. Including the TurboGrafx and variations such as the Shuttle and the Duo, the PC Engine sold a total of almost 15 million units, most of them in Japan. It's a console that, personally, I'm still exploring and discovering. Unlike the Master System, the NES, the Genesis, and the Super Nintendo, I never played the PC Engine as a kid. Something that is clear is that the PC Engine has a very rich library of shmups, and it also has some high-quality 2D platformers and RPGs. Regarding equipment for this video, I used the following: a PC Engine Duo, which is a combo of a PC Engine with a CD player. I got this console through a Brazilian store called A Casa do Videogame, which translates to the House of Video Games. And this PC Engine Duo received an RGB mod and maintenance at GamesCare. And by the way, properly maintaining the PC Engine Duo is very important because it usually has problems with the original capacitors. In terms of controllers, I have an original PC Engine controller, but its D-pad is too hard to press, probably because of its original membrane that probably dried up. So I ended up buying a Hyperkin controller, and something that I find curious about the PC Engine controllers is the fact that they feature native turbo functions. And also there are models with 6 buttons, which are very useful for playing Street Fighter II. To capture gameplay, I used a SCART cable from GamesCare, and I converted the SCART signal into HDMI through a RetroTink 4K. And then I took this HDMI signal to an Avermedia card, model GC573. And now let's get to the games. I'll start with probably the most famous PC Engine game, which is Castlevania Rondo of Blood. And this is the favorite Castlevania of a lot of people. This is a game that runs on CD on the PC Engine, and it's one of the best looking games on the platform. It features not only beautiful graphics, but also a wonderful soundtrack. Check it out. The PC Engine's mascot was Bonk. And this game is Bonk's Revenge, the second game in the Bonk franchise. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Bonk. I think Bonk's games are inferior in gameplay and controls when compared to Mario, Alex Kidd, and Sonic, which were its main competitors, but this game looks great. A classic that appeared on the PC Engine is Street Fighter II, with a version that is excellent. Check it out. Something that complicates things a little with this version are the controls when using the 2-button controller, because in this case, the select button alternates between punch and kick, and then you got the run button for light attacks, the 2 button for medium attacks, and the 1 button for heavy attacks. Now let's move on to what many people claim is the PC Engine's version of Zelda. This is Neutopia II, an action-adventure game which is clearly inspired by the first Zelda, but also it reminds me of Ys in terms of gameplay, and visually it reminds me of Master System games. And here's a game that features a strange main character. This game is called Mesopotamia, and in it we control what seems to be a beefed up Slinky. This is a 2D platformer in which we move through the floor, but also we move through walls and ceilings. The concept is very interesting. And here's an action RPG. This is Dungeon Explorer 2. And I think the name of the game is too generic because basically in every RPG we explore dungeons. This game features beautiful cutscenes with amazing saturated colors.
Ye shall not pass. Vile snake, taste my steel! Ah!
And the game's theme outside the first castle reminds me a lot of the Twin Peaks theme. In terms of gameplay, it's similar to Gauntlet, but less chaotic and with emphasis on story, not only in combat and exploration. The PC Engine library is very rich in shmups, including both horizontal and vertical scrolling shmups. So here's a general overview of several shmups, such as Parodias, Tatsujin, Darius, Soldier Blade, R-Type, Air Zonk. Of those that I mentioned, I would definitely highlight Soldier Blade because it's an excellent game. Great game for those who want to start exploring the shmup genre. And on the PC Engine, you should also play Winds of Thunder, which is really, really good. I recently finished it on the Sega CD, on the JVC-Xi actually, and I highly recommend it. Shinobi was a very strong Sega franchise in the 80s and 90s, and it appeared on the PC Engine with an arcade adaptation that, honestly, I don't find that fun, but it is an important game. And now a game that I was hoping to enjoy, but honestly it's bad. This is Rastan Saga 2. And I think you guys can understand why it is bad, why it was frustrating for me to play it. And here's the legend of hero Tonma. I thought this game would be better than it is, but at least it's better than Rastan Saga 2, both in terms of gameplay, controls, and graphics. Check it out. Now let's move on to a classic franchise. This is Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. This is a game that has a mix of 2D platforming stages and shmup stages. It's a fun game, but it can get a bit repetitive. A game that I always find in recommendation lists is this one, Legendary Axe. This game is very simple in concept, but it works really well and it's really enjoyable. It's a 2D action platformer in which it's better to charge the attacks instead of blindly attacking like crazy, and it looks really good too. A very famous TurboGrafx game is Keith Courage in Alpha Zones, and that's because it was bundled with the TurboGrafx for a while. This game has two types of stages, surface stages and underground stages, and they feature different gameplay styles. I like how this game looks, but in terms of gameplay, I think it's just average. Jackie Chan got his own game on the PC Engine, one that actually is highly praised by fans of the platform. The game looks amazing. And is lots of fun to play. I hope you enjoyed this video. It pairs with my Analog Duo video in which I show several other games of the PC Engine, so please check it out. And thank you very much for watching.